Yeah. So there are three sitting possible. Yeah, three sitting possible. Let's go madhab by madhab. If there is salah, right, with more than one sitting of tashahud, what do Ahnaf say? How do you sit for the first tashahud? Iftirash. Okay. What about the second? Okay. What about between the sajdas when you sit? Okay. Clear. So easy. What about the women? In all cases, right? Good. What about Malikis? In all cases, whether first sitting, second sitting, between. Good. Hanabila, if between the two sajdas, how do they sit? Iftirash. And after two rakats, whether that sitting be final sitting or the first sitting of two, Iftirash. And the final sitting, if there were more than one tashahud, mutawarrikan. Okay. Shafi'is, between the sajdas, Iftirash. If there were two sittings, the first sitting would be, if there were two sittings, the second sitting would be, if there was only one sitting, because that's the final sitting. Good. So we understand. Is there any other types of sitting? There are other types of sitting. Okay, like Nasrat is sitting, or Anas is sitting, or Ahmad is sitting, the Sheikh is sitting. Tarabbu'an. Yeah, we say sitting cross-legged. Is that what you call cross-legged sitting? There is proof, okay, for hadith of Ibn Umar, that he used to order the women to sit like that. Okay. Some ulama, that's why they said allowed it, and some said no, it was mansukh. It was originally allowed and then it became nahi for it. So still some people, they say, well, in time of need, we have already gone through a salah of marid. You didn't hear for any faqih to say sit in that way, unless there was udhr and there was no other way. Okay, khalas. But in general, none of the madhahib, they take that. But there is a hadith of Ibn Umar, he used to order women to sit like that, because this is more, it has more satar in it, is more covering. And in general, the fuqaha, they don't allow it. They say it was before, but still some scholars do allow it, but it's a very minority view. This is not a view which you will see normally. But some elder women, they still sit like that because it's difficult for them to sit in another way. Okay. There is another sitting as well. It's called the sitting of al-iqa'a. Anyone heard of that? Sheikh, you know, yeah. So this sitting is allowed and disallowed, not allowed. Depend how you do it. Okay. Imagine a person, he's in sajda. How is his feet? So his toes are, so he gets up and he sits on his heels, both heels. So between sajda, only between sajdas, some fuqaha, they allowed sitting like that. You heard the four madhabs, what they say. You didn't hear iqa'a in it. Now there are two issues. The two issues is, the firstly, some fuqaha allow it. The other issue is that there is a hadith saying not to do it. Okay? But some research tells us that there are two types of iqa'a. One is allowed, one is not allowed. If a person especially, he finds it difficult to sit in iftirash, it will be a good opportunity, a bonus for him to be able to sit like that between two sajdas. Right? Now, that sitting, if it was on his heels, he was sitting on his heels, then that is allowed. But there is a hadith, the way of iq'a', where a person, imagine he's in sajda, like you know how the kids sit. His feet are there, but then he sits not on the heels, but he sits on the floor, and his feet are behind him, whether his toes are up or whether it's down. That way of sitting is not allowed. This has been because Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said not to sit like a dog, and this way of sitting has been linked with that sitting. So this is not allowed to sit like that. But because sometimes you will hear al-iq'a', and this is haram. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said no. That is the sitting where a person is sitting on the floor, but his feet are his feet are also, whether they are upright or whether he has put them on the floor, the back of the feet on the floor, but he's sitting on the floor, buttocks are on the floor and feet on the side. This is not allowed. Where iq'a', when he sits on the heels, now you will also see people, instead of having the feet towards qibla, the toes, and sitting on the heel, they put it all the way back and they sit. If a person finds it difficult, due to difficulty, doesn't find a way to sit like that, okay, fair enough, still can be excused as long as he's sitting on his heels. But the right way would be to let the toes be facing the qibla. This way of sitting, even though there is proof of it in hadith, but in general the fuqaha have not preferred it over the other way of sitting, iftirash and tawarruk. For the sitting between sajda, all madhab agree that they should sit in the form of what? Iftirash. So because the ummah has kind of agreed on it, it doesn't mean it would be haram to, but it should be, if a person has an excuse, then he should use a sitting which is available in hadith. And if for any reason someone who is at a scholarly enough to feel that this hadith was more for him, he follows it. He won't be sinful for it because there is a proof for it. But you shouldn't go against the ijma' of the ulama in total. Okay.